Joining us now on Radio Row here at the 2017 ACC football kickoff is the executive director of the Charlotte Sports Foundation, Will Webb. Will, great to see you. Day number 2 here of Radio Row. Lots of excitement buzzing with the ACC. You got to really be really excited how the city of Charlotte is drawing all these people here over the last 2 days.
Well, we're excited to have everybody here. We're excited about the people that are going to be coming here in the few months ahead. And great college football here, great ACC football.
Let all our listeners know what you and the Sports Foundation do on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis to bring all these great events to Charlotte.
Well, it takes a lot of work to get games here. I think when Ron Wellman was here for the press conference announcing the Notre Dame-Wake Forest game in 2020, he said it was the culmination of 5 years of discussions. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. We have a great staff. We want every fan, every player, every coach, when they leave Charlotte to say, boy, that was a great game, and they treated us right.
You know, I'm a New York guy that's now been in Charlotte 7 years. I can't believe how fast the time has come. And every time I go home, people say, don't you miss it? I says, I love New York. It'll always be home. But Charlotte, you've got to come and experience it because it's got a little bit of everything, and it's just a great place to live. And now the sports scene is just exploding. You guys are doing a great job. We got the Belk kickoff game coming up, which will have South Carolina and North Carolina State to start the season on Labor Day weekend there. What is the difference, and how do you guys go about getting these games set up, throughout the course of the year?
Well, for the kickoff game, each one of them is a different animal. The kickoff game are independent contracts that we sign after months or years of negotiations with schools. We've got a great lineup coming: NC State, South Carolina this year, Tennessee, West Virginia next year, North Carolina, South Carolina in 19, Wake Forest, Notre Dame in 20, Appalachian State, East Carolina in 21, and we're working on some more down the road. The ACC championship, we're the local organizing committee for that, and so we get to work with the teams and work with the conference in putting that together and help them with operational aspects of that, ticket sales, the works. The Belk Bowl is a whole different animal because that's a pool from which we get to select the teams that come here, and that's matched up against the SEC. So each one has its own issues, has its own events, has its own financial statements, and takes a lot of work from a lot of people in the city to make those happen.
When scheduling the kickoff game, what are the challenges? Because you just mentioned, it's years of negotiations and you're kind of pushing towards the next couple of years that you have. But at the same time, you have the Chick-fil-A kickoff down in Atlanta, and you have these other games that are drawing from you too. So you have to, I'm not saying second fiddle, but you have to be in that list, and then also you don't want to put together two teams that aren't going to be relevant in a couple of years.
Well, you never know who's going to be relevant. One of my great sayings is you don't forecast college football, the stock market, or hurricanes, because nobody gets those right. But you're looking at for us, it's more regionality. Tennessee, West Virginia. I don't know that we would do a national game here like they do in Dallas, but we have put ourselves on the map with some quality games. We've got a great rapport with the coaches, with the athletic directors at the schools that we're talking to. After the first one happened, it became easier because people saw what we could do. We were looking at payouts that were competitive with Orlando and Houston and Atlanta and Dallas. I mean, it's a big money sport, but it works well for Charlotte. It's great for economic impact and helps us fulfill our mission statement.
Now, you mentioned the ACC championship game is back in Charlotte this year after the year that, with the whole controversy with the politics of the bathroom bill. How much did it hurt the city not having it here last year?
Well, you can imagine when we had sold 47,000 tickets when the conference decided to pull it. And with those two schools, Virginia Tech, particularly with first-year head coach in there, that game would have been so sold out here, it would have been incredible. And we estimate, $40 to $50 million in lost economic impact just around that. So it hurt us. We respect what the conference did. We worked with them. They were great partners in helping us to fix the issues that came about with the HB2. We're glad it's behind us, and we applaud all the legislators who helped make that happen.
Now, moving to the next level, the Belk Bowl. That's the big one. That's like your kind of your granddaddy, where you bring everything in. You have all the events. You have all the spectacle that goes on throughout the course of the week. How much work goes into that one? I mean, is that a year-round process, planning that whole thing, or do you kind of just put it together at a certain point, and then when you know the teams, you kind of match everything up?
Well, we work on the events all year round. We have a full-time staff of 5 that work here in Charlotte. We bring in volunteers. We bring in 3 interns every year to help us run it. That game is different than the ACC or the kickoff game because for the first 2 games, the teams come in the night before the game. And we basically don't see them. We welcome them, but they go into hibernation. They're getting ready. They're in game mode. For the bowl game, they'll come in 5, 6, or 7 days in advance. Our game this year is on the 29th. We're anticipating teams arriving on Christmas Eve. They could come in on the 23rd. So we've got events every day for the players. We got some events for the players' wives. We've got events for the players' kids. We've got media events. We've got community service day where they go into Second Harvest Food Bank and stuff food bags. Some of them go to the Children's Hospital and interact with some of the kids that couldn't go home for Christmas. That's a week long of activities that are going, and part of our mission is, as we said, is to have everybody going home saying, wow, great stadium, great city, great logistics, great operations.
Do you ever get any feedback because of where the Belk Bowl's played as far as the time of the year? It's right at the Christmas time. You pointed out that some of the teams could potentially come in on Christmas or Christmas Eve. Do you get any feedback from anybody, whether it's from the teams or players or just anything in general, just maybe that's a hard time of year to sell because you have these kids that are now maybe upset or whatever that they're away from home?
Never had one word. You got to remember there's bowl games that start on the 26th, the 27th. Those teams are coming in the 20th. We're on the 29th this year, which is really even though we're 1 o'clock, we consider that a primetime slot. Leading into the weekend, leading into the New Year's 6 bowls. It's a fantastic spot. It's a great time for these programs to get great exposure. They'll be on national TV with good ratings, extra practices. Never had a complaint.
How does the date come about? How do you figure out the date that you guys are going to be playing?
We work with ESPN, the SEC, and the ACC. And there's some ACC bowls this year on the 27th, some on the 28th, some on the 29th.
We're talking with Will Webb, the executive director of the Charlotte Sports Foundation here on the Carolina Sports Network. College football playoff has been a resounding success first 3 years. This is year 4. I know they award sites, in advance to teams, the cities to get that game. Lee and I talked about this. Is Charlotte possibly in the running in the future to get the college football championship game here? Do we have a shot in this city to get it?
Well, we think we have a shot. We bid on the last rotation knowing that with Atlanta building this incredible new stadium that it was going to be a long shot for us, but we wanted the College Football Playoff Committee to know that we were a player. So we put together a really, really strong bid. We didn't get it, but we hope that bodes well for the future. We will be looking at that hard again when the RFP comes out.
How much do all these events coming here help with other sports? I know that you guys were a little involved with the All-Star game, not fully, but then you also talk about, people always want to bring the Super Bowl here. Is that a potential? And then you talk about the college football playoff. Do they connect the dots? Like if you were able to get one and get another one and you start a building block, does that help at all?
No question that success begets success. What really helped all this get going was in 1994, we hosted the men's Final Four. Then we had the women's Final Four in 1996. Those were tremendously successful events. Those took a lot of creative efforts by a lot of people in this community to make those great events. We've got the track record now. People know that Charlotte's on the map. We've got the best stadium in the country, open air stadium, I think, that anybody can play in. Spectrum Center is incredible for basketball. We've got the facilities. We've got the infrastructure. We've got a great, safe, clean city that people love coming to. This is one of the few cities in the country where you can go to a bowl game where once you get out of your car or take an Uber in from the airport, you can walk to the stadium. There aren't many scenarios where you can do that. And teams love that. Fans love it. It's easy to get to and has worked very well. And we look forward to more big events in the future.
No, well, last one, and we'll let you out of here. I know you got to get back to your office and make the rounds here before you go. I hear from people, especially NFL-type people, that when they talk about Super Bowl coming to Charlotte, that we don't have enough hotels to do a Super Bowl. Is there a criteria for bowl games like the college football championship and things like that? You have to have a certain number of hotels. I mean, and is that accurate that we don't have the hotel space here in Charlotte?
I don't know that's accurate anymore. I think when that argument was first floated, it was. But, you know, when Mr. Richardson and the Panthers decided they want to work with the NFL, that's going to be their call.
Right.
I think Charlotte probably does have enough hotel rooms when you consider the greater market.
That's what I always thought. I mean, there's hotels everywhere.
Right, and when you look at what's been built in the last few years, and there's still more online. But that's going to be a call for the Panthers to make. For the college football playoff, I can tell you that we have enough hotel rooms to make that happen.
Well, we are looking forward to the kickoff game. North Carolina State, South Carolina, September 2nd.
Right.
That's Saturday, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
And it will be on
ESPN.
ESPN. Can't wait to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.